Thanks for joining us today for BRMC's Healthy Connections with special guest Omar Goss. Welcome. We're so glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Wanted to ask you today, you're a medical technologist
That's
at
correct.
the hospital, and what does that mean? What
Well-
do you do?
Well, okay, what we do is we do the lab testing. That involves the blood bank, the microbiology, hematology, and coagulation and chemistry. And so anytime you get your blood drawn, we're the ones that do the testing on it. Each department has its own kind of specialty from that too. The education level involved is, well, like for me and my wife, we both are medical technologists. We went to we went to ASU Mountain Home to get our associate's degree. Then we transferred to the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville as biochemistry majors. We did a year of school there. Then we transferred that to UAMS in Little Rock and did 2 years of school there, graduating with a bachelor's in medical laboratory science. Then we came back here and we did a year internship at Mountain Home, and we were subsequently hired. And this is our hometown. We love coming back.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and it was really neat to come back in a professional capacity and be able to help our community, you know, and let them benefit from our education.
So you're a bomber? Are you a bomber?
No, I'm not. My wife is, though.
Oh, okay.
I went to junior high up until 8th grade here. Then I went to Subiaco Academy, which is an all-boys boarding school near Russellville, Clarksville area. But I still have plenty of friends that I went to school with, you know. Anyway, back to the profession. We have a lot of people in the laboratory that have been there for a very long time. There's Sue Brock. She's been there 35 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt just for
sure.
a second and mention, keep in mind the hospital started in 1963. We're
That's right.
celebrating our 50th anniversary in 2013. 35 years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh, the experience. This is awesome.
Yep.
Who else has...
Jeannie Harrison. She's been there 35 years.
Wow.
Terry Watson has been there 38 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and Tim Perdue, he's been there 25 years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so it was really neat to come in and do an internship here with people that were remembering doing lab tests. A lot of the stuff that we have automated now, they were doing by hand. And, you know, they would put reagent into a vial with some of the patient's serum and time it till it changed color, and that's how they would know specifics, you know.
And now you come in with all this technology that does all of this
all for you.
very quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
There'd be no way that we could accommodate the volume of testing that we do now with the testing procedures that they had then. Everything is moving forward, and it's real interesting to see because with the chemistry machines, a lot of what we do requires mathematics, and we do a lot of correlation studies and validation studies and things like that. And each part of the chemistry analyzer, which is about the size of this rug here, and there's two of them, and they have 3 different methods that they run these tests on, and so you have to make sure that your accuracy is correct and your precision is correct and things like that.
It's a very, very precise specialty, isn't it?
It is.
Beyond belief. As soon as you said math, I kind of froze. No.
Yeah.
Not my area of expertise, but
yeah, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, and if it's what you're interested in, then it's definitely the way to go. We do recently they've decided to do something called point of care testing, and that means at the bedside. And the idea of that is to get the result as quickly as possible for the patient. And so they've come up with these machines. They remind me of Spock in Star Trek. You know, you draw the blood from the patient at the bedside. You put a couple drops into a little slip and push it into the machine, and it gives you your results.
Really, right then and there.
Right then and there. And so it doesn't do everything, but we're trying to push for that to get it to the floors and get it into the OR. And we have some things now, but we would like to expand that. And the thing about that is with those, we have to make sure they're accurate and precise, so we have to do comparison studies between them and the chemistry analyzer and make sure it's getting the same type of results.
Right. So there's always a safety net right now, is what you're saying.
Oh,
until,
right.
until this equipment is absolutely, it's accurate as it could possibly be, or as accurate as the equipment that you're using.
That's right.
The tried and true equipment in the lab.
Yeah, and so it takes a lot of mathing things out, I guess you could say, but it's a lot of fun. Another department, I guess I can go through the departments for you and explain a little about them. Microbiology is a real fun one. That one requires a good amount of education and knowledge. There's a general microbiology that most people in the medical profession have gone through, nursing, etc.
Right.
But then past that, then you have a clinical microbiology, and that combines with your immunology and a few other things. And what's involved with that, and a lot of people don't realize that, is when you have what we call normal flora. That's microbes or bacteria just all over you. And so when we swab a wound and we put it on what we call an auger plate, and we put it in a incubator and we grow it out, there will be several. The next day, there might be 5 or 6 different bacterial colonies on there.
Some which are fine.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So some that won't bother you at all are supposed to be there, and some that might be your potential pathogens, what we call it, your disease causer. And so it takes a lot of special training to be able to recognize, hey, I think that's what's causing the illness. And so we'll take that and we'll do what's called an isolation and make another plate of just that bacteria. And then the next day we take it and put it into a machine called a Vitek. And what it does is it tests different antibiotics against that bacteria.
Oh my!
And whichever
I could see why you think this is like a detective.
Oh
you're
yeah,
a medical
it is.
detective.
It is. It's really. It's a lot of fun. And so whichever antibiotic kills that bacteria, then you know, hey doctor, you need to give him this antibiotic.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. I can see why you enjoy that so much.
Yeah, I think that's really fun. And then, but my wife is really into the microbiology stuff. I do immunohematology or transfusion medicine. And the reason why they call it immunohematology, it's a combination of immunology, which is like your antibodies and your immune system, and hematology, which is red cells. And what we do is whenever someone has come in to be transfused for a transfusion, we want to make sure that the blood we give them is absolutely compatible for them. There's the normal blood types, your A, O, AB, which all can be either positive or negative. And then beyond that, there's what we call 300 antigens, which are little flags on the surface of the red cell. Okay. There's 308 different ones of those.
Oh my goodness! And no wonder you're trying to get it matched perfectly.
Oh, right, exactly. And for the person that comes in occasionally and gets a transfusion, usually it's no problem. But the folks that have chemotherapy or something that might lower their red cell count, they come in and get transfusions almost weekly sometimes. And whenever you expose the body to something that's not theirs repeatedly, it has a chance to have an immune response to that. Right. The same way vaccines work. So your body would create an antibody to the little markers on one of those red cells. And when it makes an antibody, I go through and I do an antibody screen on every person. If it's positive, then I take 12 different cells that I know what's on the surface of them, and I mix the patient's serum with those. And I do an incubation, spin it down, and then I look for a pattern. And the pattern that's created, I match to my little, what do we call an anagram, and find which antibody it is they have made. And once I find that antibody, I have to go through my refrigerator and find donor cells that I can give them that are compatible.
Okay. So as you're going through this whole lengthy process, what are we talking about for time?
Oh, well, it can take me up to 4 to 5 hours.
Okay.
And that's what can be frustrating for the patients. They might come in and, on the first and second time they came through, they were transfused within an hour, and then the third time they come in, it's 4 to 5 hours.
Because you've got to find something different.
Right.
Because it's no longer compatible with what they were initially using.
That's correct.
Okay.
And so for them, they just might think, oh gosh, maybe there's, a delay for some, they're unsure maybe of why there's a delay. And so we try to communicate it to them.
Sure.
But it's not always it doesn't always get to them what's going on, and that is something we need to definitely work on. But we get there for the most part, and so that's transfusion medicine. And then the other departments, hematology, that one's really neat. That's where all your leukemias and anemias come into play. There are lots and lots of different types of leukemia and lots of different types of anemia. The common one is iron deficiency anemia. Most people have heard of that. And then there's several others: pernicious anemia. There's a thalassemia. There's a lot of, there's megaloblastic anemia. Anyway, there's a lot of different anemias. And by looking at your red cells, we can determine that. We run it through a machine called a Coulter, and it counts all the red cells, and it counts all your white cells. And
amazing.
Yeah,
just amazing.
It does. Yeah. It does what with your hemoglobin. And the way it works is really cool. It's called electrical impedance. And what it does is it takes the blood and it sucks it through a little chute. And in that little chute, it has an electric current running. Okay. And every time a red cell passes through there, it interrupts that electric current. And so it goes bloop, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., and counts it through. And speaking about some of these folks that have been here 35 years, in the past, they were taking a drop of blood and putting it on to what we call a hemocytometer, which is just a little grid. And they would look under a microscope and physically count them by hand.
Oh, my goodness.
And then just do a multiplication to say, okay, well, that's how much it is in so many liters of blood. And so for them, things have changed astronomically. And it's really interesting to see. You get a lot of things like, gosh, it's interesting to see how. That's right. You get a lot of things where they're like, "You new people, you've got it so easy," you know.
Yeah.
And they give us a lot of guff about that, but. Anyway.
But they really enjoy learning all the technology as well.
Oh, yeah,
they're
they
having
do.
a ball with it, so
Yes.
because these are such specialized fields. Omar, we need to take a short break.
Okay.
We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away. We want to learn more about what goes on in the lab at the hospital.